Alright, here's my drone aircraft. It is for the most part finished. Just waiting for some good weather, and I have to build. This is the primary reason why I want to share this with you guys is the pylons, or not pylons, canards, excuse me. The canards, which is this front wing right here, I need to make it larger because it's still nose heavy. It's basically a yard dart, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the build. Took some time. I hid the wires as best I could, trailed them along the wings, then down through the other side, poked little holes in the styrofoam, ran them through to this flight board right here. Battery should sit back in here. I think I'm going to have to open it up and make it a little bit bigger. And just put some real basic paint on here. So if you're going to build an aircraft like this, you got front little stubby wings, let's orient this differently. Make them bigger than what you want. That way it's easier to cut them down than it is to add to them. And in my case, because I made it short, I'm going to have to figure out a way to cut or add to it to add some front lift. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to bend some flaps so that way that it's got what's called high alpha mode. It's not necessarily going to fly in high alpha, but it's going to create lift on the front. Now I could cut the motor mounts and focus and aim the motors so they're in an up position, but I want it to be able to glide as flat as possible with no stick movement, no stick input, no power. I want it to be able to glide as flat as possible. Now that's my main goal before I go to an actual powered flight test. It looks like the weather's going to cooperate this weekend. I'm not sure, but I'll see if I can hurry up and get this one done and see if I can get my wife to film this in action, or me trying to fly it. It ought to be pretty interesting because this is technically a drone. I'm not sure how the flight board is going to react. Like for example, you push full up in a drone, that means that this wants to go up versus going forward like this would want to do. So I'm not sure how the flight board is going to react. There is a automatic and manual mode right here. And then if you got one of these, definitely manual mode. Automatic mode, the propellers never shut off. And I ended up stripping gears, kind of getting sidetracked here. But the whole reason why I scavenged this flight board is because these gears get stripped out. And I waited months and months. In fact, I had to sign up on an email waiting list just to get notified that these were back in stock. And then they come as a package with the motors. So I actually ended up making a hovercraft out of it, waiting. And now I've scavenged the flight board back out of it and put it in here. And here's the hovercraft, So you can always have fun with a drone. It worked quite well as a hovercraft, and I don't see why it can't work in an airplane. I just got to fix the aerodynamics on it. So that being said, man, be creative. Get out there and do something. Don't be afraid to try it. I mean, this is my very first airplane that I tried to make scratch build. I built a balsa wood airplane many years ago. I mean, when I was a kid, but that was a prepackaged deal. I think it was about $1 at the time. So I'm just trying to use parts that I've had laying around and want to put them to use. And these motors, bring back to another thing to reiterate this, because I originally wanted to use a flight board out of this guy as a trial, because this is a very cheap drone. I think I paid like $11 for it. I used to fly it around in the house. It makes my kid laugh and smile and whatnot. So I used a flight board out of this guy here, and the first thing I did was upgrade to the much larger motor. And as you can see, let's turn this on its side. You can kind of get a comparison here. So there's motors, the one in red, that I stuck to the flight board that used to belong to this, and the flight board and the battery couldn't handle the amperage. So I just put a little bit bigger battery in there. I think it was 150 milliamp. I went to 200 milliamp, and it would make like one motor turn, and then so I'd forget it, I'll go to a 1200 milliamp, and then I fried the flight board on this guy. So even though it was still one cell, it fried the flight board, very sensitive to current and current draw and whatnot. So I had to go to that bad boy, because this motor here, because it took so long to get here, I actually ordered spares from Banggood, so I forget the size they are. I want to say they're 8520s or something. I don't know. If you want to read it, if you're able to decipher that, there you go. There's a part number. It was sold on Banggood. Excuse me. But man, get out there, have fun, explore your creative abilities. Even if you sit behind a desk all day, stroking a keyboard, looking at a computer monitor, man, get your fingernails dirty, get your hands dirty. It's good for your brain. It's good for self-achievement, man. It makes you feel good when you accomplish something. I mean, this thing hasn't even flown yet. I'm already feeling pretty happy about it. And it's pretty simple. I mean, I kept it as simple as I possibly could. Kept it as light as I possibly could, like this top area right here. That's from a styrofoam dinner plate. But this area here is a foam board. The basic shape on the nose area, focus, there we go, was designed to try and make a wing type shape, but I think that would only take into effect at a higher rate of speed. As of right now, I'm more interested in gliding speed and maintaining stability than progress further from there. But anyway, I hope you guys get inspired to get out there and try it. Man, be creative. Don't let anything hold you back. I mean, in all, outside of the stuff that I've already paid for, this foam board was $1, and that's the most I've spent on it so far. A little over $1.